This is my second live stream, and I fixed some things. There was some issues with the audio this last time, and so hopefully you can hear me a little bit better today. I'm just gonna do something real quick here. And so I created this really cool, as you can see, cool frame here in Maya, and this is actually in the middle. There is right here is my website, shaundunnart.com, and you can see my portfolio. I've got some products on there as well, selling some 3D models, royalty free, and also if you want to find me on social media, you can see at the top there is Instagram, ArtStation, Facebook, and LinkedIn, and you can just find me with Shaun Dunn, 3D artist. And so yeah, if you are interested in what you see, then please be sure to follow, and especially here on Twitch, once you follow, you get notifications of when I'm streaming. So I think if you're interested, that's a good way to be updated. So just 1 second here, and so I'm going to go to grab my reference file here. Now, if you all are not aware of this, I just want to, I have no affiliation to this company at all, but this is such a great application. It's called Pure Ref, and it's fantastic for references. You can just drag and drop all your photos here. It's a very simple interface, and you can then access all the photos you need for the project. You can create groups, and you can grab images and zoom in on specific ones if you want to, highlight this one as important. And so it's just a great application for reference when you're working on projects. And this particular project I'm working on is for an Unreal scene. And I'm completely new to Unreal, so I have been working with film assets, and I've been traditionally trained in film asset creation, but the game industry is really interesting. I wanted to go ahead and learn that part of 3D, and so this is the first project that encompasses an Unreal scene. And so you can see these are some of the stills from the Peter Pan film, the original Disney film. And what I've done here is I've just gone and I'm just all different angles have gone in and grabbed stills, because I want to see everything that is in the room. And the interesting thing about this is this is kind of the movie magic, things that you don't really realize until you start working on them, is that there's a lot of things that don't really add up. A door here, a door may be here in one frame, and it's not the same door when you look from a different angle, is not there. So you kind of have to figure out how you are going to tackle that in 3D, because you know, it's not practical in 3D. You do need to know where everything goes. So you know, let's see here if I can find an example. So we've got this chair here. Let's take a look. See if we can find a good example. So here we've got, it's kind of like playing the game memory. So this door is supposed to be next to this bed, but if you look at other frames, it's not. So I'm just trying to find it. So here's one of the frames. It's kind of, let's see here. All right, well, I think you folks probably get what I'm talking about. It'd be a lot of work to try to go through all of these, but you have to really figure out where everything is in the room, basically. So, and then of course the scale too. So last time I worked on a table right next to one of the boys' beds. So this table here. So I built that, and this is one of many assets created that I will be creating. There's going to be a lot more, obviously, but today we'll just go through and UV. We'll UV it, but we'll also create a high poly version for baking, since we're doing game assets. And we'll try to bring that into Substance Painter as well. So let's do that. So you can see the material is pretty just all wood. There's nothing really special about it. One material. And so it's going to be pretty simple, to be honest, but let's get to it. So let's jump to Maya, and let's bring up, so I've got my shelf up here, and this is my own custom shelf. I've just created a hotkey for the UV editor. So I'm just going to grab that. It's actually on my other screen, so I'm going to plop it over here, and we can do it like that. And a lot of times it's just really funky. The UVs are all over the place. But in the last live stream, I had just quickly captured this using the camera. And so you just go under Create and then Camera Based. So you can do like automatic. It's going to create its kind of best guess for this asset, and it's not too bad if you look here, but it's there's just a lot, like the cylinders, it's just too much mess. So some of this could be used still, actually, and maybe we should just do that. Just take a look, and we can just the great thing about UVing is you can break it apart. So we could just do just this top part here, and then do these little cylinder pieces separately. So I've combined this. I'm going to just go ahead and separate it all. And now you can see that each piece of geometry is here in the UV editor separate. I could select everything and it would come back, and I could combine it, but we just want to work on one thing at a time. Let's take a look here. We've got this box, which is really not bad at all. So, I mean, when it's simple geometry like this, it's not too tough. But when it gets more complex, you start having to do it a little bit different technique. So, yeah, this is pretty good. I'm going to just look through all this stuff, and let's add a pattern on this so we can understand the UVs and how they are being projected. So let's go over here and let's clear this first, clear the history, and let's add file, and then we're just going to add texture, which I already have. Just need to go to projects. This is just specific to me. I've already got a bunch of projects I'm working on. So let's see. All right. So I'm sorry. I'm just looking. I got a message here on Instagram too. So yeah, I invited folks from there to come on over here to Twitch. So hopefully everyone can get in on learning. All right, so we've applied the texture and we can't see it, so we're going to press 6, and we need to make sure that we are, oh, and I got to turn that off first too. So a lot of times I just turn on the default material, just kind of quickly covers up everything. But even when you have a texture applied, it will just cover it up with the default material. So we're going to undo that, and now we see all this crazy stuff, and we're going to grab just any piece and go to the material, and we're going to go to the placement, and because it's just so darn big, let's just repeat this a bunch so we can see everything in scale here. So yeah, we can see this is pretty much messed up. This is why you project these textures, so you can understand what's up, what's down, what's left, what's right, etc. So we're going to go ahead and figure this out. So it's like a puzzle. All right. So is everything funky? And sometimes it's just easier to project differently, but this is not too bad. I think we can just go into our transform here and just rotate it, and there we go. And I'm wondering if I unfold this, it's gonna, yep, a little bit better. So when it comes to, we're trying to achieve perfect squares. So that means when we have perfect squares, when we bring this in for texturing, we're not going to have any stretching, well, little stretching. So that's pretty good. And I'm just going to straighten it out and go to the next. So this one down here, you can see go this way. And again, let's unfold. I mean, we could really just take everything and unfold it right now. And so that's not bad. All right. This one needs to go that way. Hopefully you can kind of figure out what's happening if you're new to UV texturing, or UV mapping and texturing. So we're just gonna grab it, go that way. All right, and just take a look. And you know what, let's just hide this. So I have, again, hotkeys, so I'm just gonna hide unselected. And frame in on that. get rid of that so we have more room. And 1 second, just see where we are. Okay, so this is the front here. All right. It's really important to get your UVs right. And it makes all the difference when you're texturing and having them to the correct orientation. So we know this is the front, and so let's hide this. And it will become more apparent when I bring it into a texturing application like Substance. But basically, imagine it like this. You have wood grain going down, up and down vertically. And so this is perfectly up and down. But if we look at this one, up and down is actually left to right. So that may be what you want, or it may not be. But if you want up and down to be here as well, then this one needs to rotate as well. So we can rotate this to the same orientation. So that's up and down. Now, I mean, if this was a wood plank, it would have a different grain. So it just depends what you're trying to achieve. But if we're talking about wood, which we are talking about wood, then it would apply. But going back to the reference, it's important to think about what kind of wood we're dealing with. Is this a 2x4? Is this plywood? How is it? How is it going to be applied? And this is a cube. This piece here is a cube that's being covered by this piece and these corner pieces. So, it's not going to be seen up here at the top. I mean, this is probably some sort of sheet wood, plywood kind of material. It's not a 2x4, so we're not really worried. But it's something to understand when you're creating these things, that you're going to need to think about all of these things together, because you'll save yourself time. I mean, it doesn't really make a big difference since this is covered, so yeah, so let's look around. It's all good. So, and I usually don't take this long to UV map, but I'm just going through and explaining because I think there's a lot of people that are curious about how it works. And I just had a parent send me a message on tutoring, because I'm a tutor on Wisent, and she said she had hired someone to teach their child 3D modeling, but then the tutor didn't know how to UV map, and it's just such a fundamental procedure. So yeah, really important to understand how this all works. So anyway, going back to it, we've got our one piece already textured and mapped. Now this is also something to think about. This is a unique piece. There's no other piece in here that is this piece in this shape. Not just a cube, but this particular shape and form. This is the only one. Now if you look at this corner piece, there's 4 of them. So there's something we can do as far as a trick with these to save us time. And that's to transfer the UV map. So I'll show you how to do that in a second. But let's keep moving on here, and let's focus on this one piece. So this again is the front piece right here. And what we're going to do is hide this. And so again, this is looking good, but we might want to unfold. Yeah, so unfolding helped. I mean, you can always go through and grab the UVs and just hold them, and you know, if it's not getting with unfold, automatic unfold, if it's not working properly to achieve a square, you can always adjust it yourself. So this one is wonky. We're going to rotate that. And this one as well. It's pretty much there, but you know. And again, let's look at this as a whole. So this is good for the most part, but let's take a look at everything again. And so this is the front. Everything's looking good. These top pieces right here are not going to be seen, so we don't have to worry about that. You know, the orientation of those. But just to make things clean, did I miss this one? Just to make things clean, let's rearrange this a little bit. And I mean, to be honest, we can use the layout tool in the end, but it's good to keep clean while working. So now let's go back to the subject of transferring UVs. Now sometimes this just doesn't work, and it has to do with the vertices, and if you have more vertices or you've adjusted the vertices. If you, for example, take this piece and grab the vertices and detach them, then this won't work. So you have to remember, if you've not detached it and you've got everything clear, helps to clear the history. You never know with Maya, freeze transformations always helps. So just get as clean as possible, and then bring it back. Let's hide. Let's grab all these and then hide everything else. So we've got our one nice one, we've got our three ugly ones. And so what we're going to do is go up to, mesh and transfer attributes. So yeah, so we just want to transfer the UV maps, and we can sample this in different ways. If this was right over this, you could sample it in world space. So if it was literally like sitting on top of each other, you could sample in world space, considering that you need your pivot point at 0 in world space. But because it's not, we can choose component, and we don't need to move the vertex positions or anything at this point, but we're going to choose component, and we're just going to simply select the other geometry and hit apply. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And it looks like it's doing something strange, which is weird because I can see it. It is in the correct position. And it's a real crapshoot with these things. Sometimes it works fine, and others not so much. But you can see if you select this and this, they're different. But if you select this and this, it's good. Now let's figure out what's going on here. This is part of working. Okay, so let's see if we. All right. Oh, okay. Did we have some of these things? Let's take a look here. No, that was. Yep. So, for whatever reason, it's not working. We can try another way to do this too. Is with the same. Oops. With the same transfer attributes, you can choose topology. And let's see if that works. So let's try that, and there you go, boom. So component or topology, honestly, you never know with Maya. It just, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So if you take a look here, now it's perfectly where this one is, and you can see it's kind of darker when this means it's overlapping. So yeah, so that works. So let's do the other ones, and apply, and apply. And you have to, so something to remember is that these, until you delete the history, if you adjust something on these, it will make the other ones wonky. So you need to delete the history, and that will take care of it. So there we go. Now let's show everything. And looking good. This one is, so we'll use that again. We'll use the transfer attributes option again soon. Let's frame here, but let's focus on the ones that are not alike now. So yeah, let's go back to transform. And you know, because this is facing pretty much, you know, up and down, I know that I can just go to transform and just rotate it. If it was, what I mean is, if it was like this, you couldn't use this transform rotate tool so easily. But because it was, I can simply just grab it. Like this one, for example, is wonky, and I have to find the right orientation. So yeah, looking good. This one is again up and down, so let's rotate it. And this one is not going to be. So this is the exciting world of UV mapping. I mean, I gotta be honest, UV mapping is not my favorite part of 3D modeling, but it is a necessary part to make it all happen, and you can't skimp on UV mapping because your model will pay the price. It will look not good, and it's well worth your time to get it right. So I'm just finding the front here. So this is going to be some sort of, you know, wood panel. Let's say this is one solid piece of wood. So we have grain going this way. We want to have grain going this way. Maybe it's this one. And so that's good. And let's see, grab this one. That's good. Actually, you know what? I'm thinking about it. I think I'm going to change the orientation on that one. So this is what we want, and this is what we want. And then this one can connect there. And if this doesn't make any sense to you, hopefully it will when we bring it into the texturing part. So these are contrasting. It means the grains are going to be going the opposite direction. But these, all the grains are going the same direction. So exciting. And let's go ahead and grab everything and go back down to unfold and get them to a nice. I should have done this in the beginning, but just carried away here. But let's go back, kind of straighten it out. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect, but it just depends what kind of material you're working with. But this is wood. It's not gonna, has imperfections. All right, so I think that's pretty good for this piece. Let's go ahead and I'm going to hold Shift and right click, hold down the right mouse button, go to Layout, and you can go to the box here, but I've already got it set. Well, actually, looks like we've I had it on full 3D, so I want it on Legacy because it should already be set. Yeah, so rotate is set to none. I mean, because if you don't go in and set this yourself, it will try to rotate and pack everything the way the way that it thinks it should be, and I don't want it to. I want it to not rotate because I already rotated specifically for what I'm going to do in texturing. So we're going to hit apply, and it's just this massive piece, but don't worry, it's a massive piece on the patch here, but don't worry, we'll get everything shipshape soon enough. We're just trying to lay out everything clean, and we'll come back and clean it up after this. So let's show the last. And so our goal with UV mapping is to make all the squares square, right? So all the checkers, they need to be square. And we also want to lay them out the way that we need them for texturing. And they also need to be the same size. So you can see these are very small squares, this is a really big square, that's not so great. So we'll come back to that, but for now it's basically done. And I'm just gonna, I can just pack this, doesn't really, but when you zoom in you get a little bit better view of how things are skewed. So yeah, for people who are new to 3D modeling, there is just so much that goes into it. I think the rest of you that aren't 3D modelers, texture and 3D artists may not totally know that it is a lot of work to make a 3D model, but hey, it's a passion. So all right, so those are done, and just to make things easy, let's create a layer, and with what we have selected, we're just going to create layer from selected, and then so we've got all this stuff on a layer, we're just going to hide it. So and when I need it back, I can just toggle on and off. I'm going to hide it. And these ones are done as well. So, all right. So this one moving along. There is an easier way to do this. This is using Maya. And the easier way is to use other applications, other UV mapping applications. I like to use, Hideous UV Layout. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. So that really quickly will get things that are square, and it's just so much easier than doing mine rotating all this stuff. Maya does have a way to align and arrange things, but it just doesn't, to my knowledge, just doesn't get it right. So you end up having to rotate it by hand, or you can hope for the best with using one of the UV mapping presets here. So I'm just showing the way to do it in Maya. But let's go back here. Let's turn that off. And front. What's this one? So both of those. And I'm going to look just to see the orientation of these. Yeah. So rotate both of those. And I just realized my camera is, or my mic is like all the way far away. So hopefully you folks could hear me for, what, 30 minutes? I did adjust the volume, but sorry. Going back. Exciting world of UV mapping. All right, those are looking good. And see, you know, for those new, I just grabbed two of the UV patches or shells, and you just right click and you select both of them and you can rotate them together. So that just saves time too. So just point that out. I'm kind of explaining things for people who are new to 3D modeling, and you know, I know you expert people are like, gosh, this is just cake, just get over it. But you know, this is for people who are new. I mean, this can be, there's going to be a lot of information here that will probably go up to advanced, but some of the stuff may be kind of basic. So all right, let's put this on the layer here. We're going to right click and add to the layer and do the same thing. Okay. Okay. And these ones. Yeah. All right. And let me go back to this real quick here and take a look, make sure I'm doing this right to the other orientations. So I got this one going up, this one going that way. So yeah, it looks good. And we're going to unfold and zoom in. Now we can see how messed up it is. And like that. Yeah. All right. That one's good. Add object. All right, so this one, a little bit different shape, but it's pretty much the same. Just think about it the same exact way. Let's take a look. So let's grab maybe shell. Now, what's happened here is the automatic UV mapping that we did worked out pretty well. However, we can see that this shell is not connected to that shell. So it's pretty simple. We'll just go ahead and grab it and sew it together. And let's see, it's right here. There we go. So we're going to go to cut and sew, and it's going to be funky. And we're just going to unfold that one. And there you go. And just like that. Sometimes I'll do the UV maps and then I'll bring it into like substance, and I'm like, gosh, that just sucks. Like, this is not what I wanted for the UVs, and I'm getting kind of artifacts or whatnot in bakes, and you just have to adjust things. So this is not absolute. Just remember that. You can come back and change things, and so just know that you have those options. All right, take a look at this one here. Oops, don't want to move the pivot. Yeah, so we're pretty much all going that direction, I guess. And yeah, looks good. All right, now let's lay it out and see what we messed up here. I mean, you could easily just grab everything instead of using that, and you could just press R. I always forget the keys. Press R to scale, and then you could just, you know, if it was really small, you just scale it up. But when you use the layout, it just kind of packs everything really nice for you. So I prefer to do it that way. But let's make sure this one. It's going that way, it's going that way. Yeah, it's good. All right, show all. All right, I'm gonna add it, hide it. So we're getting close. Again, now we're getting to, I know it looks like there's kind of a lot of pieces left, but these are all repeat pieces. So, and even the handle right here is a repeat piece. So we can just really look at this as there's 1, 2, 3, 4 more things to do. So let's hide unselected and focus on them. So yeah, this one is just totally mangled. I don't even know what it was thinking. That's artificial intelligence right there, folks. I don't know, but yeah, it's not gonna work. So let's see what we can do to create our own. Could do, I mean, you know, honestly, I think I'd like to just project this again with the camera. So I'm going to go to the front. It really makes a difference which viewport you're in. So we want to go to the front. You can see it's on the front here. And I'm going to grab the geometry, and I'm going to go to camera based. And then it just plops it right there in patch number 1. And it's not right, but it's a good starting point, and everything is together. It's no longer mangled all over the place. So let's start working on this. Basically, we want to have the least amount of seams showing. Now, this isn't supposed to be an all wood piece, so it's kind of tricky. But in substance, you can do like a spherical projection. There's a lot of different things you can do, but I think I'm just gonna cut it right down the center here and see where we go with that. It may just be fine. So I've cut it, and now I'm just pulling with my left mouse button, just, oops, and I threw it off. Okay, so here I had this on the other screen. So to do that again, we did a select the geometry, camera projection, then I selected an edge and I cut it. And now I'm going to grab the shell and just drag it out of there. And then this one is fine. However, let's cut it. Oops, cut it. If I can zoom into the right. So this is annoying, and this happens. You zoom in and your camera just cuts off. So let's fix that. Let's go to the camera, and we're gonna do the near clipping plane. So we're gonna just make it really small. So there we go. And now we can zoom in really close if we need to. Yeah. So there you go. Now we're going to cut it there. And then we're going to grab the shell. And then this piece, let's just cut it there. And let's take a look. I guess for this piece, let's just cut it right here because it's underneath. Nobody's going to see the seam right there. And so, yeah. So now everything is cut. We're just going to go to unfold. And there you go. So this is not very... this is not what I want with this piece. So how can we fix that quickly? A lot of times I'll just use UV layout for that. But let's think about this. Can quickly just you know what? I'm just going to keep it this way for now. And I'm going to pack everything. And then if it doesn't work out, we can come back. But it may very well be fine. So let's look at the next piece here. So there's this one. That's one of, what, 4? And then let's do this one. And this one is pretty much good, except for maybe a couple of these. You know what? Let's grab everything first, unfold it, and then do it. And let's just lay it out, see how much it's messed up. Yeah. There we go. That looks good. So the next one, yeah, super crazy, but let's see what we can do. For this one, let's just do camera based. And so what it does is just creates like a snapshot of your geometry, and then it puts it here in the UV editor. And you'd think that's probably useless, but actually it's really, really helpful. And I mean, we could do spherical, or I'm sorry, cylindrical. We can try that actually. Sometimes that works pretty well. And in this case, it's not too bad, to be honest. But we have something strange happening, I guess, on the bottom here. Let's grab the shell. And yeah, so it's pretty messed up there. Let's cut it. And then item selected, see what's going on up here. Oh yeah, so this one I'm going to cut as well. And then let's try to do it with that. Right. And this one is messed up. So what we're going to do is project from the top, and that should take care of it. So there we go. Let's put it all in the patch and show last hidden. Take a look. Yeah, you know, this is stretching here, which is not really that ideal. Let's see if we can make some adjustments here. This is the kind of stickler I am with these things. That's looking better here. And I'm just pressing 3 to subdivide smooth. You know, it's okay. I don't really like what's happening here, so let's see if we can adjust that. Let's grab the UVs, and actually I'm going to get rid of, I'm going to pull this up here so I don't, you know what, I haven't saved, so I'm going to save. You always save in Maya, it just crashes like constantly. So let's grab the UVs and see if we can make a dent here. Going to smooth. Yeah, not really. Getting more squarish. Square-like. It's not bad. A little stretching down there. Sometimes you have to go row by row with these things if you really want to get it nice and stretch free. This is truly not a big deal, but this is just more to show you if you're having this problem, this is how you might go about doing it. So now you can see, got these pretty, I mean, we've got stretching here, but it's much better than what it was. And the main portion here is pretty square. So that's good. Let's move on to the next, and we can just put this in a patch. Not a big deal. Go back down to this one. All right, let's try the same technique. It's roughly the same kind of shape. So what we're going to do, let's just jump the gun on this and grab that top part, grab the bottom part. Actually, it looks like they're already cut. Maybe not. Oh yeah. All right, so now we're gonna take everything else then. That, and get rid of this one too. All right, and then cylindrical. And same problem, different mesh. Let's see what we can do. I'm going to smooth it. Smoothing helps sometimes just visually. See what's going on. Let's grab this and just try to get that center part square, and then we'll work our way up. It's not bad, but it's not great. Just going row by row on these UVs here. Gosh darn it. What's going on? I think I'm just too close to that. Just trying to keep it all within the screen for you. I usually have my UV editor on my other screen, and look at this. I totally grabbed these things too and stretch them, but that's fine. We can reproject that, it's fine. So in the meantime, let's move this out of here so I don't stretch it anymore, and go back to business. All right, press 3. And look where we are. It's not bad. Here we go. Down here, oops, down here. It's not bad. It's not great, actually. Yeah. I like that. So that works pretty square all the way around. And this is how you get nice UVs. So let's go back to these top parts, which really, again, aren't that important, but you know, just so you know, you're going to grab them. First, let's go here. We're going to go to the top viewport, and I'm just clicking it once. I just left click into it once, and then we're going to project camera based. And then we got them here, perfect, round, and layout, and bam. All right, so let's take a look at everything here, because we should have everything done at this point. And I'm gonna bring this off the screen, show all. Now let's start transferring, you know, fingers crossed. There's just so many things in 3D, just they're supposed to work this way, but they don't work this way, so you have to try it that way. So you never know, but this is how you can do it a lot of times. All right, so we're gonna select this one first, the UV'd one, and let's bring the UV editor back. All right, UV editor, got our transfer attributes. This is the one we've got done. It's right here. Let's select the other one, and we've already got it set to topology, and you notice this turned darker. That means we've got action, so we're good. Remember to delete the history. I've got a shortcut for it up here. And you know, if you don't have a shortcut, just for the new people, you just go to edit, to delete by type, or you can delete all. Now, I would not delete all if you have any type of rigging going on, because that will just screw things up more than you ever wanted. But just go delete by type history, and that will also delete the history. So let's take a look at things here. So we got this one. It's transferred. Now let's grab this one and transfer this one. And you can just, you don't have to grab this first one. You can grab the next one. It doesn't matter. It's just the order does matter though. So you need to grab the one you want to transfer to the one to your target. So do that and that. And you don't have to delete history until you're done. Okay, so I just deleted history. Everything's clear. They're overlapping right now, and that may or may not be what you want. With gaming things, sometimes that's not what you want. It just really depends. So let's go back to transferring. I'm going to grab this one, and you know, I could grab this one too. It doesn't have to be this one, this one, this one. All you can grab this one and grab here and transfer. So we are in business. Delete history. You know, it's pretty monotonous to do UV work, but again, it's really worth it. I mean, you spent all this time 3D modeling, you might as well get the UVs looking right, because that's going to make the difference with texturing. So here it is, a big mess right here, and that, don't let this scare you. But let's go back to our layer and show everything. And we've got all these squares. Now everything is squares. You know, that's what we want, except for this one. Let's go back here. and I can see that this one is slightly rectangular. It's not square, so I must have forgot that one. And perhaps, no, this one's done. So this one looks like it's needs some help. So let's unfold it, and then same process. I'm going to save, by the way, just never know. So layout, and these are totally bonkers. All right. Cool. So for all you new people out there, you're wondering what the heck is going on? Why is he taking so long? What the hell is this UV process? Well, it's going to make sense hopefully soon, but just know that we're getting there. So now everything, like I said a little bit ago, everything needs to be the same size. And right now these are big, these are small, these are, you know, different variants. And it's called textile density, I believe it is. And you want to have things in your scene properly scaled, which brings up another point, because I haven't really scaled this table at all. It's probably microscopic, but that is another topic. Right now we're just doing UV mapping, but right now we need these squares to be, you know, all the same. So I actually have up here a cool script. It's called Maya Checker and size tool, and it's by this guy Varun Bondawal. So if you just type in Maya Checker size tool, I guess, in Google, you can find the same tool, and it works fine. I'm using Maya 2019. Still works fine. So the rule with this is find the biggest piece first and use that as your starting point. So this is going to be the biggest piece. Sometimes this may not be the biggest piece. It may look like it's the biggest piece, but maybe you combined like this face and this face, and you welded it there or sewed it together. If you did that, then that will be the biggest piece. And then, you know, you got to take that into account. But I can just tell you that this is the biggest piece. And what we're going to do is use this little Maya Checker tool, and we're going to choose pick checker size. And that's, now this is already in the patch fine. And it's going to be our starting point. So we chose this one. Now we're going to choose, and I believe you can just choose all of them at once. So I'm going to press Shift. Actually, just hold everything. I could have, if you have one selected, you can hold Shift, and it will deselect what was selected. So so now I've got everything selected, but this original piece that is our driving piece. So we're going to choose this next button here and set checker size to size of objects. So we're going to do that, and it does its magic, and wow, bam, look at them. They're all the same size, and that is magic. Otherwise, you have to go through individually and kind of lay it out, but this is a quick script. Thank you, Varun, for that. And so we're pretty much there. You know, UV mapping is done. Now, the fun part, we can get rid of this. We can get rid of this texture, because it's just, I mean, you can do it two ways. You can come up here and just assign the default material, or in my case, well, three ways. You can assign a new material, or you can just go to the Lambert material and just break the connection. So I'm gonna go here, right click and break connection. And that's great. So we're gonna grab everything, go back to the editor, and everything's a mess. We're gonna grab it all and we're gonna go to layout and magic. There it is. So now everything is all in one patch, and because Unreal doesn't need, right now it's there's a beta thing going on with Unreal and Udemy. Basically, it doesn't support it, is my understanding, and if it does, it's really not something to depend on. But it was to my understanding they don't. So get used to trying to fit everything in one patch, and that means, scaling your patches and your textures the proper size. For things that are important, you need to see a lot of detail. Then maybe you need to have a 4K patch texture. So in this case, this is a small table next to the bed. I think 2K is going to be fine for this. And so now we're done with that. I'm going to combine it all right now. I'm going to delete the history and going to, that's when I combine it, the geometry is no longer on the layer, so we can just right click and delete it if you want, if it's just cluttering things. But I like to keep my scenes clean. You can go to the outliner, make sure that everything is clean, but we've got these groups. I'm going to delete that. But first thing we're going to do is name this. We're going to call this table, or let's call it side table. Low. Actually, let's do this. Naming conventions, always important. Rich. No. Okay, so, and now, got this. This is your original. You can move it does matter where your pivot point is. So we're gonna move it to 0, 0, 0. And for all the newbies out there, so the pivot was up here. How did I do that? You just select your geometry, press D as in David, D, and then you get your pivot edit options. It's the same thing. You can move the manipulator anywhere. But the easiest way is just to go up here and just enter in what you want. And in a lot of cases, it's just 0. And then now, when we bring this into Unreal, it'll be right at the origin and be sitting directly on the floor because I've moved the pivot point. So if you had your pivot point up here, when you bring it into Unreal, what it's going to do is this. It's going to be below your floor. So you just want to remember, when it comes to the model you're going to bring into Unreal, you're going to want to remember to keep the pivot in the right place. So speaking of Unreal, let's, we could do this different ways. I have another scene, and so I'm gonna reference in a scene. Just trying to remember which scene. Okay, so let's reference in a scene. Brings up the reference editor here. You can choose file, or you can hit this button here. And so we're going to go to scenes. I'm going to choose, I guess, this one maybe. And it's going to bring in this massive scene that I already created as like a block out. And this is because I had assigned RenderMan nodes to it originally. So yeah, it's pretty much funky right now. And let's see if everything, there's nothing in there. Yeah, it's there. Okay. Gosh, I think I might reference a new one because I don't want all that. Let's try one. All right. So yeah, it's really funky right now, and that just could be because the camera. Let's take a look here. Yeah. So we just the issue is this is so much bigger than the table. As a matter of fact, the table is just like really far away and very small. I mean, you can really see how small it is. So here's the table. It's like super microscopic compared to the scene. And that's because this scene is to scale and the table was not. Now, to remedy this, you can create kind of a general block or blocked out character, whatever you want to bring in or reference into your scene when you're making assets, so you just know the general size. But for now, I mean, I'm just referencing this in. I've blocked out kind of the basic of where things should be going. So let's bring the table over. Let's just scale it up. And there's the table. And actually, the orientation is correct, but you could just for now bring it over to here to see and just kind of take a look how it works with other things in the scene. So I'm just gonna grab the Y manipulation axis, and I'm gonna hold V and press middle mouse and try to snap at least to the floor. Sometimes it's because when you have a lot of, there we go. When you have a lot of assets on here, it just may not work. And you know what? This is in the wrong area. So this is supposed to be the table right there. And you can see this table should be right there. And, it's not. And, this can be adjusted later as well. But I would say it's, the first live stream, we were working on proportions, and this is not bad. This is not bad. So we're gonna go up here, adjust the channel editor, and actually we need to make that negative. There we go. Yeah. So yeah, just thinking about this. There's kind of a couple ways to think about how you want to deal with importing the asset into Unreal. You could keep it at the zero. You can keep it at the origin, at the origin of the grid. But you can also keep it here where the wall is, and then it will when you clear everything out and with your transforms, your history, and you bring the pivot back to the origin, it will go here to this location. But I know that I've already changed the walls in my other scenes, so I am not going to do that, but I am going to take note of the scale, because the scale is really what I was looking for. And I can see that this is pretty much it. I mean, let's look at the reference again. Yeah, I mean, this is, we're looking in perspective here. Let's see if we can find another image of it. So here it is there. And see, this is kind of what I mean. I think there's a glass here and there wasn't one. And but the scale looks a little bit elongated here, even with the perspective distortion. Let's see if I can find another one. So here's another one. This one is, you know, it's kind of, again, you just want to find a happy medium. What looks good? And, you know, what do you prefer? Are you trying to replicate exactly? Are you going to deviate from that a little bit and make it your own a little bit? I'm trying to keep pretty true to the scene. So I'm going to shoot for what I think is the best. And I think this scale is, you know, I could scale it out a little bit if I wanted, or shrink it in, but I think this is good. So I'm going to grab this number. I'm going to control copy it. So I've got 38.805, and then I'm just going to get rid of the reference like that, and it's gone. And then I'm just going to zero this all out. And actually, I don't even need to copy that because I can just zero that out with the delete key. So we're still at 38. Let's freeze the transformations. And this is the proper scale. And I mean, you can see the grid down here. It's just really, it's really big compared to the grid. But I do have my scene set up already. And let's see, where is it? Yeah, so it is set under centimeters, and that is what I'm going by. And I have set the grid up already. I actually intentionally set it so the grid doesn't go crazy out everywhere. Personally, I don't even like to see the grid a whole bunch, and everybody's different, but that is my preference. So we're good with scale. Now what? So now we need to make a high definition version of this, and we can do this a lot of different ways. I'm gonna copy this, and then I'm gonna grab this. I'm gonna press Command or Control D, and that will, as you can see, duplicate it. And then we're just gonna call this one low. And so you can see we have the low here. Let's hide this one. And now let's duplicate it again. And we're going to call this one high. And the reason is I'm trying to stay away from editing this original. This is my backup. I mean, you could save it to another file, I guess, but I'm just going to put it here. And as a matter of fact, I'll just create a layer for it, so I know that I won't mess around with it. I'm going to make it so it's just not editable here. So yeah, there it is. And this is the high. All right. Cool. So let's bring this over. Now, I mean, if you brought it into Unreal or Substance the way it is, I mean, I guess it would be fine, but you have these really hard edges, and we're trying to avoid that. We want to smooth things out and make, you know, nice, clean, normal maps. So what we're going to do is, let's see, we can do this here, and it may just be fine to do it here because these are pretty simple. Or you could bring it in a ZBrush and do it that way. But these are really simple pieces, so I'm just going to do this here, and I'm going to explode this whole thing. And just by each piece, I'm just going to grab the edges. We're going to go to Edit Mesh, tear that off, and just go Bevel. And bring that over here. And let's make it a little bit smaller with the fraction, and add in some more segments, divisions, so we have it a little bit more rounded. So yeah, it looks pretty good. Yeah, so now this is basically your high version and your low version. And what we're going to do is I'm going to smooth out some of these. Let's go to normal, the mesh display, and we're going to soften the edge. So let's take a look what that did. So yeah, that's a lot nicer. Right there you can see when we bake this, you have these nice soft edges. So we're going to go around and do this with everything. And let's see if I can, yeah, I think this will be easier. So what I'm going to do is just grab everything and then, so I'm going to hold control and double click to get rid of those edges. And I'll get the whole loop. All right, get rid of that. We really just want these inner ones. So we're going to get rid of that. Get rid of that one. We're almost there. This could be the last one. Let's take a look. Yeah. So let's go and soften the edge with all those. Now let's take a look at what we did here. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I'm going to hide this for now. Yeah, simple. I mean, you could bring this into ZBrush and do all kinds of sculpting, but to be honest, I just prefer to do a lot of stuff like this in Substance. I mean, if there's major sculpting work that needs to be done, then I'll bring it into ZBrush, but something like this, it's a hard surface model. Adding a little bit of a softness to the edge to bevel it, it's just going to make your highlights, make it have nice highlights. So let's go and start tackling these other things. Got that one done. And because we don't really need to worry about the UVs with this, what we can do is just do it on one. Again, for the repeating things here. So we're going to grab this one, hide the others, grab the edges. We've got our panes open here, and we're just going to grab bevel, and it's, I guess, behind here. So let's move that there. And so yeah, I think we did 0.3. I mean, you don't have to do the same bevel, but if you want to keep it kind of consistent looking, that could be the key. So there it is. Show less hidden. I actually think I did a bigger bevel with that. Let's take a look. No, it was, but it's just the different geometry. So let's go back to this bevel and see if that looks a little bit better. And again, let's look at the reference. How does the reference look? Yeah, it's pretty soft on the edges. I mean, it also looks like they've done something a little bit different here. And you could kind of, I'm not sure that the other drawings were like that. Let's take a look. It was like there's a plane on the corners, like it was sliced off. Let's take a look here. See, this one looks more to me like it's just a straight rectangle going up, which is the one that I originally modeled from. So it's kind of your choice if you want to add these fine details. Because I have a lot of things to model, right now that's kind of low priority to go and change that. And I just want to get more things done, and I'm going really slow creating this video just so everyone can kind of see process. But yeah, so let's go back here and let's focus on this again. I do want to, did I delete this? No, okay. So I do want to soften that up again. And let's go to 0.6. Let's see. Yeah, it's not bad. So I think that's okay. Let's grab this, and I forgot to soften. That will help. Soften edge. Oh, did I hit harden? I think I did. All right. It's actually a little bit bigger, so I'm going to change it to 0.5. You can see like the width of this radius is about the width of this. I'm pretty satisfied with that. Now let's hide unselected. Grab everything. Same process. It's a lot of, if you haven't noticed already, a lot of repetition in 3D modeling. So that took care of all that. That's awesome. And you know, this down here really didn't need to be here. I just poked this before so I could find the center point, but it's not really a big deal, so I'm just going to leave it. And I'm going to leave this as well. Let's see how we do with this. Let's go to soft. Yeah, that's still not the way I want it. So, All right, let's go into the side view here. And interestingly enough, this is slightly, I can just tell, this is slightly rotated because you can see the grid. I don't really think it's going to pose a big problem, but it's not square. So anyway, let's get back to the issue at hand. And so we got here. All right, so I want to harden that. And that's good, I guess. Let's see if I soften that one. That's still giving me that artifact thing. I think I'm just gonna, this is not gonna show, so I'm just gonna leave it the way it is. And yeah. Yeah. Grab all of that. See what... Actually, that worked just fine. All right, so we're good. Good enough. All right, so let's show everything. Actually hide that. And I just want to see if this whole thing is, it is actually tilted, which is not cool. I wonder if this actually happened when we were creating the when we were plotting things out on the reference file, because this is all skewed at this point. So this is actually a more complicated fix. Let me see if the original is messed up too. Hopefully not, but let me find out real quick here. Show, oh yeah, so the original is as well. So that's not cool. Not cool at all. I mean, you can just grab everything and try to rotate it, but we're gonna project things here, so it is gonna maybe cause some problems. Now, there's a lot of different ways to handle this, I suppose. I'm gonna try to think of the easiest here. Let's grab everything and we're going to combine it. And let's see, how have I done this before? Yeah, this is an advanced fix, folks. But this is the kind of things that happen a lot. So, I mean, technically, it's fine where it is because they're all skewed in the same spot. So I could just grab them all and rotate them all. That might be the simplest way to do it. And frankly, I think I'm just going to do that. But there is a way that I've done multiple times that gets this like right on the center origin, but I'm not going to sweat it too much. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show all, and let's find everything here, bring everything to 0 so they're all over each other. I'm going to group them all by pressing Command and G, and now let's just eyeball it. I mean, you could just create a cube too, that will help. This will keep things squared and you know, kind of referencing or reference wise. So I'm just going to grab the vertice, pull it up, and then I'll know kind of what's poking out of where. Go to Y. And this is the kind of stuff that, you know, 3D modelers have to deal with all the time. It's problem solving. Maybe make your own problems. Maybe the application makes a problem for you. But clearly this is not straight. So, right. So let's make it bigger until we just don't see it anymore. And I'm going to... So we don't see it over here, but we see it over here, kind of thing, you know? Right. Oh, you know why? Because I have this reference, which means I may have not grabbed. Let's hide the cube. Let's grab everything. Ah, there we go. Let's drop this in there. There we go. Show it all. Grab the group. Let's go on the orthographics here. Okay, so I'm going to press plus and get this massive manipulation tool. And the reason I'm doing that is because when you have it larger, you can rotate it much more or with a lot of control. So I'm just looking here to here, here to here. That looks pretty good. All right, so we're good in this angle. And then this one is really messed up. So we're gonna go this way and good with that angle. Right. Where is it? Oh, I think it's just too big. Yeah. Okay, there it is. Make it a little bit larger. And yeah, not really what you want to deal with, but sometimes you just got to deal with it. So yeah, I mean, let's take a look in 3D. Turn on wireframe. Kind of see everything poking out. Let's hide this. Take a look one more time. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Let's bring it down. I'm gonna snap this to the bottom of those. Bring down the Y. And yeah, looks good. Whew. All right, so that took care of that problem. We're gonna just delete the cube. And we should be good. Only thing is that we probably wanna, the transforms are on the cube. So let's just freeze transformations on the cube. And everything should be clean. We still have our history. So that's good. I think we're good. Let's hide that. And let's get the original. I'm going to Shift P to unparent it. And so everything is there. They're all perfectly overlapping. And we're good. So back to work. So I believe this is the high poly. Yeah. Good Lord. Fire out. All right. So let's explode this. We're gonna it does create a little bit of an issue because we don't really have perfect perfect symmetry, but I think it's going to be okay. So I'm not going to fret it too much. I'm just going to let's get that manipulator back down. And I'm just going to go with this. I'm going to duplicate and scale X and clear history on that because we have everything all there. So let's combine it, grab these two, get rid of them. Going to duplicate and we're going to scale -1 in Z. Oh, you know what? You got to move the pivot to 0 before we do that. So let's move pivot. And pivot's down there. So we're going to move -1. And we're good. All right, so for these, let's just, I want it to be smooth going up. So let's just bevel let's take a look at the reference real quick. So obviously the bottom is going to be pretty flat, But here it looks kind of rounded, to be honest. So can do is let's first bevel this, and we need to clearly make that smaller, maybe even smaller than that. Can add in another division. And yeah, I think that's okay. So when we smooth it nice and, yeah, this is rounded up here, but kind of feel like I want to have it rounded, more control over the rounding. Let's first add a bevel here. Again, let's move it way down. Too much. There we go. Smooth it. You know, I think that's fine. It's basically, you know, what I'm kind of debating over is whether I should add another loop in here and make it more rounded, basically, up on this part. And I mean, it does, let's take a look what it looks like. I mean, honestly, I think it looks better without it. It's not the same form. So I'm just going to keep it this way, get rid of that. And we should be good. I am going to bevel that. Oops, that was bridge, not bevel. Bevel. And I think that's good. Could bevel that again. I just pressed G to repeat my last key. How do I like that? Yeah, I kind of like that right there. And I think that's good. So to smooth it, you could, you know, go through and bevel everything and add more edge loops. What I like to do is press 3 on your keyboard and give it the sub D smooth. I'm going to delete the history. We are going to go up to, is it modify? I always forget. I think it's mesh edit. Convert. So modify, convert, and smooth mesh. So right now we're pressing 3 to smooth it. So smooth mesh preview to polygons. And so that's just gonna, I mean, and you could also, another way is you could just go to edit mesh. Is it? You could go to mesh and then smooth, and it would basically do something very similar. But this is good for me. I mean, it's high poly, you know, versus low poly. And when we bake it, that's what we're looking to see. So I think we're good there. Let's delete these. We're going to do the same thing and duplicate. Go X -1, grab them both, combine, move pivot to 0, duplicate, -1Z, grab it all, combine it, done. All right, so moving along. We're going to do the same process here, so let's just do that one. Hide unselected. Let's do bevel. We can this time. Let's just grab both of them and bevel. Say no. 3. Nope, still don't like it. 2. You can do. You don't have to do just one place over. You can add an additional place over. So 0.25, add 2 segments. Let's take a look. Yeah, that's not bad. So let's do the same thing. This time, just to show you what I was talking about earlier, is this time we'll go to mesh and we'll just go to smooth. So there you go. The thing about smooth is you can control if you want it smoother. You can do another iteration. That I'm not going to, but yeah. So let's save, because you never know, and move on here. So show last hidden. So see how we're getting this, we've got this more faceted version over here, low poly, which is the one we're ultimately going to go with in the scene, but we're going to use this as our driving force for baking. So moving along, let's see, how is this doing right here? Is this, I feel like that's not actually touching. You know what? I think it's okay. So let's get rid of those. Get rid of that one. Pivot is at 0. We're going to duplicate. And I'm sorry, go to X. Grab the other. Combine. See why it's really good to have these shelf hotkeys. I mean, you can use, instead of shortcuts up here, you can use actual hotkeys. You can assign them in yourself. I'm not going to go over that, but that's also something you can do. Let's bring this to 0. But it saves a lot of time using a shelf or hotkeys, that's for sure. So I'm going to go to -C and combine. All right. So now we got those guys. And if you want to kind of keep track of all this, if it's not totally visually obvious, you can just, sometimes what I like to do is just assign a new material. So I'll just do a Lambert, and let's see here, we can clear the history and then move that out of there. Let's just make it something pretty obvious. You can just, I don't know, let's see, maybe too crazy. This color, yeah. Let's bring down the saturation. Something like that. It's a little easier on the eyes. A little bit. It's still pretty saturated. There we go. Something like that. So now we know we've done all those, and let's see, did we do this one? No, we didn't. So let's do this one. I'm going to make this one pretty small. I'm going to go 0.5. Let's see here. Yeah, I think that's okay. So we'll just assign existing material. And these ones are also done. We're going to press G to repeat that. And so yeah, I might add more geometry to this. Just looking at this, which is fine. We can definitely do that. So let's do that, because when I smooth, I'm not really sure it's pretty abrupt. I'd like to have it a little bit more. We could probably use these here and just bring them in. Yeah, that's, instead of adding more geometry, we just use what we got. So you can see that that arc is much nicer. All right, so what do we want to do here? We want it to have this as kind of a more pronounced edge, and this needs to be pronounced. This does. Obviously the corners. So let's put a bevel here first. I'm going to do bevel there first, and 0.1, so that's 2, oh, that was 0.01. I'm going to say 0.08 maybe. Let's take a look. And we can come back to that bevel. So I'm just going to go around, select all the edges that I need. Double click by, I'm holding shift. There we go. Didn't want to work for me there. Whew. All right. Oh, maybe that's because I grabbed something additional. So let's get rid of that. So I just pressed 4 on my keyboard to go to wireframe, and looks good. So let's go bevel. I think we're good. Let's go back to shaded mode, and that's just 5. Texture mode is 6. Okay, so we're gonna go and let's do, ooh, keep doing 0. Yeah, it's pretty good, I think, actually. Let's see how it is smoothed out. There you go. So that's what we got. And not too shabby. You know, it's starting to look nicer. Yeah. So let's do smooth. Actually, you know what? Let's not. For this particular thing, what I want to do is preview to smooth. Okay, so there we go. That's nicer. But I'm going to go back first, and I'm going to take care of the and the nice thing about this is we actually have a little bit more control over assigning hard and soft edges by because we have UVs on this. You can actually select the UV shells, but for this, what I'm going to do is make everything soft at first. Right, so go back. And everything soft. And honestly, I think that's okay. I mean, this area here, I want it to be pronounced, but I think it's okay. Yeah, so let's now, and actually it would have been probably fine just to convert and then do that too. Let's take a look. Let's see if I do this. Yeah. I'm not liking, the thing that I keep looking at is I'm not liking how sharp this edge is here. And I mean, the edges are pretty soft on the example. So I'm not really happy with that because when I'm smoothing, it's just adding all this geometry in. So I want to see if I can see it. I mean, on the bevel, it's just adding all of these. I mean, we could try to adjust the bevel, but a lot of times it just freaks out. It's like not going to happen. So we could try. Since it is working. It was at 0.3. Let's see here. Yeah. So let's try messing with that again and go 2.5. I feel like that's going to be too soft looking, but maybe not. You know, it's not too bad. I kind of like it. It's got this nice kind of curve happening there. I kind of like it actually, so I'm going to keep it like that. Yeah, I think we're good. So let's delete history, add in Lambert. Slowly but surely making our way through everything. I mean, technically, you know, we could probably just grab this. I mean, they're about the same size. And just, I mean, they may be the exact same. So just duplicate it down here. Save us, oops, sorry. Just save us some time. So let's do that. I'm going to center the pivot. And I'm going to go to my side. Let's move this out of here. Holy moly guacamole. Look at that. And this is because we had mirrored things. And obviously it's just totally wonky. So got some changes to go there. Some fixes. But I think it's going to be okay. Let's see how this looks over here. Yeah. Tell you that glitch, or you know, I guess it was my own error where it just got skewed. It was not good. And this is also a good reminder to save instances of your files. That way you can go back. I mean, I could Control Z the hell out of this thing because I have an infinity undos, but I'm not going to do that. So I'm just going to explode this, center it, bring it back. I mean, we're going to have to make sure this aligns to that, basically, that low poly version, but it's not going to be too hard. Just some moving around. So this one. Right. Yeah. So let's get rid of that. So now we fix that. These ones are probably off, yep. So let's fix those. Let's just do one at a time. Man, that's some bad luck there. All right, so moving on. Yeah, we could go as far to just take this one, and I mean, this is kind of a little lazy, but take this and duplicate it, and then you don't want to scale it because you're going to mess up all your bevels, but you can grab the vertices and snap them. And that way, you know, save yourself a little bit of time. And this one needs to go this way. And is it also... Yeah, so I think that's good. So let's show this hidden. And then let's do the same thing. I mean, this our lives would be so much easier if this thing wasn't skewed. It just goes to show you, I mean, even if it's a little bit, if you get something off the axis, it might be worth it to try to get it back exactly. So yeah, just looking at my Instagram here, people are just commenting there, and yeah, so yeah, there's a lot of great work on my Instagram too, so check that out as well. And start working on this piece here. Right. Other than that, is everything else looking good? I think so. All right, so let's bevel it. And so the wife is sending a message, and just respond to her real quick. All right, so let's soften. Take a look. I think that's good. All right. I'm gonna run into the same problem probably, but you know how to fix it. So yeah, the X seems fine. It's just the Y or the Z is messed up. Let's duplicate and Z, and yeah, look at that, just super off. I think what happened is just this whole thing moved forward. That's clearly what happened. So let's try to just move it forward. Move it back. And it's good. So grab these. And we're about done. So let's grab these things here, and they are smooth, I think. Let's take a look. Yeah, they were smooth. And I'm just gonna grab both of them, smooth them, and well, actually, you know what? I need to add a bevel at the back. So hide unselected, and let's go to bevel. Let's go to 0.3, 2 divisions. I'm gonna do 0.2. I think that's fine. 0.1. All right, and then sorry about the noise, by the way. Our neighbor, their garage is broken, so if you hear that loud noise, it's the garage breaking in the background. All right, so hide unselected. I'm gonna do the same. What was the other one? I think it was 0.1. So oh, I think I deleted it. That's fine. It doesn't have to be exact. So let's just, here we go. All right. So that's basically done. Let's take a look here. So yeah, you can kind of see that this is, oh, that's the other one. Okay. I was like, hey, it's still hanging off. Yeah, you know, I think that's okay. Sometimes it's good to have it a little organic anyway. I mean, this is a man-made object. There's going to be imperfections. So maybe, you know, let that work in your benefit. So let's combine this and save. Delete history. I'm going to hide it. Actually, you know what? I'm going to bring that back. I'm going to go here, see how far off we are. It's not too bad, actually. It's not that bad. So, yeah. It's maybe just fine, actually. Yeah, so we have a high and a low. And let's rename these. So this is, again, side table. We're going to say high. And this one's already low. And this is the original. Which, to be honest, this probably, no, this is fine. So this one is fine. The only thing that may not be super great is this here, but I think it'll be okay because we did some adjustments to make it have more of a nice arc. So I think we're good. So what we can do now is bake it out. And the way to do that is there's a lot of ways. You can go into Substance Painter, you can go into Marmoset, you can do it in Maya. I'm going to do it in Marmoset, and it works pretty well there. So what we're going to do is bake it out in Marmoset, and once we get everything baked out, what I'll do is bring this into Substance Painter, and then I'll call it a night for this stream, and then we can take off or start off from, where we left off and working on this table. So, I mean, it really shouldn't take this long, but because I'm explaining everything, it, takes more time. So let's kind of organize this while we're at it. Let's delete this. Original, we don't need it. Can hide it. We do need it, we just don't need it right now. So what we want to do is make sure everything is at their origin. I'm going to grab these, group them, center pivot, move this down to here. And you probably don't have to do this, but this is just getting it right at the origin. So what should and then snap this. Is that right? Yeah. Okay. And then bring this up to Y. And if you really want it to be like, this thing is like right on there, close to it, at least you could bring this to Z, and there you go. So we can, I should have done that with the original too, but the original at this point isn't, because we haven't changed anything on the low, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to duplicate the low and duplicate, just call this one original, and assign this one. Okay, so now, we've got something funky going on. This is Maya. Can we get out of there? Nope. It's just, this is Maya glitching. This is typical. You can see my translate is just all over the place. So what I'm going to do is shut down Maya and see if we can, hopefully this doesn't screw it up too much. Go to Maya. All right. Let's open recent. And even though there's no Pixar materials, well, there's no render, I'm not using RenderMan, it's still prompting for the Pixar thing there. I just closed. And that's just because it still has the materials in the hypershade. So I'm just going to go through and hit optimize. So it will delete all those, and it shouldn't do that anymore. It's just because the reference file had that. So yeah, looking at this, I mean, I think it's pretty good. Group. And I like to add a suffix. Make things clean. So if we select this, we do have some translations happening. So let's go back and see center of the, hold that thought. So let's not do that. All right. That's good. That's good. Right. All right. All right, so let's export this out. This is the high. You can use game exporter, or you can just export, use export. I'm going to choose OBJ, and it's there. And I'm just going to do this to my desktop because I'm working on these files right now. So let's just call this side table high. And let's copy that. And there we go. Hide it. Let's grab this one. We're going to, oops. Grab, export again, and we're going to call this one low, and there we go. All right, let's see here. All right, and in Marmoset, I'm just going to drag in these two. See if it's working properly. Here we go. All right, so I've got this open in Marmoset, and let's create a baker, and we're going to take the low and put it in the low. Take the high and put it, you know, where it goes. So we can look at the cages that Marmoset is suggesting, and you can see it's seems to be covering everything just fine. As a matter of fact, I don't even think we need to go that far out. But as you can see, when I start going in, I'm starting to lose some of that. So we need to, okay, so we'll just call this side table, and I think that's fine actually. So let's take a look around, make sure everything is covered, because otherwise it's not going to work properly for baking. So I can, I thought it was poking out there, but I think it's not. Yeah, I think we're good. So I'm going to just go to the baker and boost up the samples. I don't think we need to soften it at all. And let's see, we want normals. We can do curvature, ambient, and material. And 2048 is good. You could do this in a multi-layered PSD, but I'm just going to not, so we can bring these into Substance. I think that's good. Let's bake them. So it's just going to bake to the desktop at the moment, and then there they are, and then let's see, I'm gonna go to is it already open? No, it's not. Okay, so we're going to go to Substance Painter. And let that load up. Now, because this is all one material, I don't really need to worry so much about material assigning materials, but there is one thing that I do want to do in Maya, and that is you know, if you're going to bring this into Substance, if you don't name it properly, then it will just come in as a Lambert, and you may not know if you have got a bunch of parts what's what. So the way to do that is we're gonna we can just assign a new material, actually. New material, Lambert, and go to Lambert. We'll just call this SciTable. I'm just going to copy that, and then you need to go. I've noticed like it doesn't. You need to go to the actual shading group and also do that too, because it doesn't seem to stick. Substance. So I'm going to export this low res. I'll just do it as a FBX because it will keep in that. I'll keep in the material information, and that's what we want. So we're going to go to export FBX, and again SciTable, and export, and then go into Substance. We're going to create a new project. I mean, you can change the document resolution at any time, but I'm just going to put it 2048. DirectX, Unreal works with DirectX, so you need to always have it as DirectX. So let's select our FBX. Let's also select these baked files here. And it's not going to let me do it like that. Okay, so we'll just do it like this. There we go. All right, and so those are all there. We are not doing a UDIM. This is, if you wanted to do UDIM, you want to make sure to check this, but we're not. So, and this is going to be an Unreal Engine template we're going to go with. So let's do that. And yeah. All right, so there it is. And you can see here, if we had multiple, because we created a new material in Maya, we basically now have the name of the asset there. And again, if you had multiple, if for example you had like steel knobs, you know, and you wanted to separate those, you would do that with materials in Maya. But this is all one, it's all one material. It's wood. And so we didn't need any additional. So first thing we're going to do is go to the textures that we brought in, and we're going to go to put those textures in their correlating areas here. So we've got, what is this? This is the AO, okay, so occlusion there. There we go. And then this is the curvature here. And this is the, we don't really need the matte ID, I guess, but sometimes it's good to have it. So I'm looking at this and having an issue with the UV still, or with the normal map, I'm sorry. And And actually this should be a little smoother too. I might want to go back into Maya, and this is where you just basically can go back and forth with Maya and adjust things. It's really not hard once you have this. You just want to adjust the low resolution version. So this is looking nice. This is looking good. This is looking fine. Yeah, but I think this is just looking too faceted right here. It just isn't. So I think I'm going to go back into Maya at a later time and fix that. But this is basically it. We brought it into Substance. I'm going to start from this point in the next live stream. So hopefully this has shed some light with some people who are new to 3D modeling, and or maybe who are not new and just wanted some extra tips. I will continue to do live streams, and there's going to be easier pieces and more technical pieces to work with, but this one is pretty simple, but just trying to take our time to explain things, understand what we're doing. But yeah, so thanks for joining me on this live stream, and remember to take a look at my website, which is shaundunnart.com. Also, please be sure to follow me on Twitch so you can get updated when I'm going to do a live stream, as well as Facebook and Twitter. And you can even find me in ArtStation too. I've got some great pieces on there. And so yeah, until next time, thank you so much for joining me. Appreciate it.